great follower of the channel, Andrew Lippert, came up with this request as part of his AL West double. He asked for a podcast on Chuck Finley and a podcast on this, one of the most dangerous bus accidents in baseball history. Almost killed several members of the California Angels. Where I have a direct connection with this story, and bear with me for a second. I know it's not the same sport, and I know it was years later, but I was one of the many reporters in the North Shore of New Brunswick who unfortunately had to cover the Boys in Red incident involving the Bathurst High School basketball squad, who made an accident in the middle of winter on a very bad road with very bad tires. Now, several members of the team passed away. Unfortunately, we bless them every day for their presence on this planet. He left a lot of good memories, but the tragedy of that, preventable accidents are very important to consider even before a team does a travel schedule. The bus has to be good, the driver has to be good, the weather has to be good. All factors must be brought together, and the safety of the athletes should come first. Now, this is why we're talking about this incident. Now, this happened in May of 1992, and we're recording from the LA Times recap, a very good article on the incident. Now, it says in the headline, 13 injured in Angel bus crash. Rogers, manager Buck Rogers, the most seriously hurt in New Jersey wreck during early morning hours, and the bus driver is cited for careless driving. Now, according to Helen Elliott, a very good reporter with the Times, from Woodbury, New Jersey, Angel manager Buck Rogers suffered a broken right elbow, right rib, and left knee early Thursday when one of the two buses carrying the team from New York to Baltimore swerved off the road into a grove of trees along the New Jersey Turnpike in Deptford Townships, about 20 miles from Philly. Rogers, 53, was trapped in the twisted, crumpled metal of the bus for 7 to 9 minutes before paramedics pulled him out through the windshield and transported him to the Underwood Memorial Hospital in Woodbury. He was transferred to Thomas Jefferson University Hospital in Philly, where he was listed in fair condition at that time late Thursday, but of course he recovered. Rogers was scheduled to return to L.A. Saturday by air ambulance and will undergo surgery to repair his elbow Monday at Centella Hospital Medical Center. He was the most seriously injured of the 12 players or staff members, plus the driver, who were treated. Team orthopedist Luge Yoakum was to go to Baltimore to examine injured players. It was a nightmare to go through, but it could have been a tragedy, said shortstop Gary DeSarcina, who was bruised and had a sore back after being jolted out of his seat and wedged under his seat across the aisle. We went over some bumps, like we were going over reflectors on the road, and I remember hearing branches hit the sides of the bus. I kept waiting not to hear those branches. It was like being in a big washing machine or heavy-duty dryer, just splashing around. Then it got real dark, and all I heard was moaning and groaning, and there was luggage and food all over the place. It seemed like it took an hour to realize where we were. Now, third base coach John Wathen, who actually I met in Toronto in 1983, very nice gentleman, who managed the Kansas City Royals for 4 years prior to the incident, will at the time replace Rogers in the lineup when the Angels opened a 3-game series against the Orioles. Now, Rogers, again, at that estimation of time, he said he was going to be out for several weeks, which he was, but of course he did recover. Now, we went back from the hospital to collect our luggage, and we saw the bus and it was scary, said Wathen, who was sitting in the fourth row on the right side of the bus. Rogers was in the front. It was dark when it happened, and it was scary to see in the light of day. The front of the bus was pushed back right to Buck's seat. There was no front door. It's amazing he got out. Now, infielder Alan Davis, traveling secretary Frank Sims, and head trader Ned Burgett remained in Underwood Hospital Thursday night. 8 players or staff members were released after being treated for cuts and bruises. Davis and Burgett were being tested for possible kidney damage, and Sims had cracked ribs and a possible punctured lung. Now, Burgett was hailed as a hero for attending to others' injuries before allowing his own to be treated. Now, this was ironic about the crash. Pitchers Chuck Finley, Bert Ball 11, and Jim Abbott, who, of course, only has one hand. He was amputee, of course, on one of his arms, who were in the second bus, also were praised for helping pull the wounded out of the wreckage. So they went from the one bus back to the accident bus and did everything he could for the injured. I saw Chuck running around the bus grabbing people, Disorcina said, and the thought crossed my mind, Chuck wasn't on this bus. Said Wathen, the great thing was how quickly Finlay and Blyleven and Abbott helped me get off the bus. There was no panic. I felt we had a close team anyway. Maybe this will get us closer together. Now, at the time, the estimations were 18 people were on the bus. A second bus, carrying 19 players, coaches, and staff, followed closely. Ubi Brooks and Louis Polonia were not with the team, having received permission to spend Thursday day off in New York. None of the players were wearing seatbelts. Only a driver is required to wear a seatbelt, according to New Jersey law, state law at the time. It's a wonder we weren't all killed, said Sims, who was sitting in the second row behind the driver. We were tossed around like dolls. Bailing out of airplanes as a World War II pilot was simple compared to that. Bullpen catcher Rick Turner had a gash on his left arm that required 26 stitches. And infielder Bobby Rose will be on the 15-day disabled list after sustaining a severely sprained right ankle. Infielder Louis Soho, of course former Blue Jay, was the only replacement summoned from the Angels AAA farm team in Edmonton, but others might be if Davis's injury is serious or if other injuries become more serious. Now, roving minor league instructor Chuck Hernandez was to join the team to help Turner and bullpen coach Ken Maka, who sustained cuts in his forehead with the pitching staff. Hitting instructor Rod Carew had whiplash, but said it wouldn't prevent him from fulfilling his duties. We're all pretty lucky. There's a lot of people saying prayers today, said Rose, who was sitting in the sixth row of the bus on the left side. I was sitting in the hospital thinking about how lucky we are, and he opened up my wallet and started looking at pictures of my kids. I could never have seen them again. I could have been all over. Now, the bus had left Yankee Stadium, where the Angels had lost their third straight game, shortly before midnight Wednesday. The accident occurred on a dry road about 1:50 a.m. when bus driver Carl Venetes, who was transporting 18 of the 37-member traveling party, apparently swerved to avoid a recap tire left in the road by the truck traveling just ahead of the bus. An investigation of the accident found neither debris nor any skid marks that would have resulted from applying the brakes to avoid any debris. Now, New York State Trooper Nick Colucci said late Thursday night that Venetes was issued a careless driving summons that carries a $66 fine in New Jersey. A prelim report said Venetes lost control of the bus, which traveled 175 feet along the roadway, straddled a guardrail, and went about 250 feet more before striking a tree and turning on his right side at a 60-degree angle. Now, Venetes of Stanhope, New Jersey, is employed by Keva Connor Bus Lines of Pine Hill. Maureen Sapansky, a spokesperson for the New Jersey Division of Motor Vehicles in Trenton, said Venetes had 5 points on his license. 12 points would result in a suspension and has had 5 speeding violations. However, she said it wasn't clear whether they occurred while Venetes was driving a bus or his own vehicle. Now, Sims said he heard Venetes speaking with the driver of the other bus on the CB radio seconds before the accident. Sims also said Venetes had not been drinking and wasn't distracted by the movie being shown at the bus because the screen was behind him. He was doing about 60, maybe 62, Sims said. I heard him say something and swerve like something had come off the truck. There wasn't a guardrail on that portion of the road. He hit the grass, and the grass was wet and the bus started to fishtail. He knew he couldn't get back onto the highway, and he wanted to avoid the trees. He hit the guardrail and went down. We tumbled like mad. I remember we finally rolled over onto the side. I put my hand up to my head and was covering with glass from the windows and broken bottles. I looked over at Buck, and boy, he was crumpled. Said Wathen, I don't even remember leaving my seat. I don't remember flying through the air. What I remember seeing was all kinds of gray flakes all over me and all over everyone. There were leaves coming in the bus from the trees we hit. Now, those in the second bus feared the worst when they pulled over the side of the road. I went up to that bus, and I thought, there's no way we're not dealing with multiple serious injuries here, said radio announcer Bob Jameson. Players met with Wathen Thursday afternoon to take stock of their injuries and their luck. If we had kept rolling down that hill, we would have gone in the water, probably upside down, and who knows what would have happened then, said catcher Ron Tingley, who sustained sore ribs after hitting the seat in front of him. It's incredible that just 4 guys had to stay in the hospital. Now, the short breakdown of the accident. A bus carrying the Angels from New York to Baltimore, southbound New Jersey Turnpike. Step by step, Bus veers, allegedly to avoid debris, careens into right guardrail, skidding 175 feet against a rail. Bus straddles guardrail for another 25 feet, comes off rail, hurdles forward 250 feet before crashing into trees. The rail was 2 feet high. Bus lands 30 feet from road. There's a creek at the bottom of the decline. Those with extensive injuries, including Buck Rogers, who had a broken right elbow, broken right rib, broken left knee. He had elbow surgery at Centennial Hospital in Inglewood. Rose, sprained right ankle and facial cuts, ankle placed in cast, and Rose was placed on a 50-day disabled list. Other injured included Frank Sims, secretary, possible kidney damage and cracked ribs, Alvin Davis, back injury and possible bruised kidneys, Ned Burgert, head trainer, bruised ribs and possible kidney damage, Rick Turner, bullpen catcher, gash on the left side, Al Conan, radio announcer, stitches over right eye and black eye. So there was many sources for the story, including New Jersey State Police, California Angels, the Courier Post, and the Camden Cherry Hill of New Jersey. Now, talk about Helen Elliott, a very good reporter. She joined the LA Times Sports Department in '89. She became the first female journalist to be honored with a plaque in the Hall of Fame of a major professional sport as the 2005 winner of the Hockey Hall of Fame Elmer Ferguson Award, awarded to writers who have brought honor to journalism and to hockey. A native of Brooklyn, New York, and a graduate of Northwestern University Medial School of Journalism, she has covered 17 Olympics, and she recently crossed covering Wimbledon off her bucket list. Now, Helene Elliott is a known, pure writer, one of the most solid writers in sports history, and you can tell with this write-up she never embellished, she never made it too high or too low. So I think when you have good journalists like Miss Elliott or Mrs. Elliott, you know that the coverage is strong and positive. So ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our podcast channel, let us know with a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Andrew. But say a prayer for all children and adults who travel by bus or even plane for sports. You never know when a wrong turn or a wrong incident will lead to tragedy. Thanks for listening. Bye.